It's been a long day for y'all. I appreciate everybody staying till the end. And thanks to everybody involved. It's been an awesome, awesome day. At about 11:45 on March 31st, 2007, was the first time I had ever realized that I could truly do anything that I wanted to. I was vomiting violently. So violently that the next morning, my stomach actually hurt worse than my arms. My crew, I could see about 200 yards away, and they had a searchlight out, and they were looking for me. And I could see them, and I was yelling, and they couldn't see me. And I had this split-second moment, and I was just like, you know what? This is done. I am over it. You see, about 8 hours earlier, I had walked in the Gulf of Mexico in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and I started swimming. And I had this goal, this idea that I could somehow change the world or improve places by this physical feat. I wanted to raise money for these, for kids programs on the Mississippi Gulf Coast after Katrina. And I'm at the halfway point, and I had to choose, see it through or quit and forever regret it. Thankfully, I put my head down and I kept swimming. 9 hours later, I walked out of the water in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, forever changed. And this idea of 32 miles and the number 2 forever etched in my brain. Since that time, everything in my whole being has been revolved around healthy living. I've even gone so far as to make this, I call it my filter. If I do X and it makes people more healthy, I do it. If it doesn't, I don't. And it has to do with setting these goals that challenge our why and that are based on our why. And for me, it's made all the difference in the world, and it's probably the most empowering thing I've ever done. Many of y'all may be saying, oh, great, what's that mean for me? I've got to swim 32 miles? Great, thanks. That's doable. But the reality is, I think that it's truly possible to do just about anything we can conceive if we base a goal around our why and what we believe in and what our drive is. In 2005 and 2006, leading up to this swim, I had just come off what most people would consider a pretty bad year. I'd lost $150,000 of mine, my wife, my family's, my investors' money on a restaurant. I'd gone into another business venture, and after about 7 months, it was a mess, and I walked away from it too. My seeming kind of rock that I had during that whole time was running and triathlon and this and that. And I had just come back from the Austin Marathon where I had to drop out. Everything that I truly believed in and what I thought my talents were, I was questioning. And I was grappling with this idea that business failure or running failure is your personal failure. And all those things define who you are. And what I needed was a goal. And I needed something to kind of lift me up to realign what I was about. And for me, that turned into 32 miles. So a lot of us have already heard of this before. BHAG, BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. This will be my only other presentation slide of the night, and I'm going to put a line through that. When I hear big and hairy, my brain shuts off, thinks about some big hairy guy, and I am no longer motivated. So for me, I've redefined this as 32 miles. But what both of those things have in common is this. Those types of goals, these self-proclaiming type of goals, are the ones that are in the back of your mind. They're nagging. They're like, man, I bet I could do this. But more importantly, they speak to what we're about. And these 32-mile goals, I think, that can truly align your life. There's two things that have to happen to do that. You have to build it correctly, and then you have to figure out how you can execute it. So again, we've all got them. What's your dream? What's your big thing that you think you can do, but you haven't taken that step that you want to do? How do you define it? After you've defined it, what are the things that that it's something that's probably spot on? Well, the first and foremost to me is that it has to be physical or mental, and probably both. And by both, I mean challenge in both of those realms, more so than anything else that you've ever done before. In 1999, Monster.com came out with their first commercial. And on it, they had all these little kids. And the first kid comes up, and he comes up to the camera. You see him, he's like, when I grow up, I want to file all day. And the next kid comes in, and he's like, I want to scrape my way all the way up to middle management. The next one, I want to be a yes man. The next one's like, I want to have a brown nose. Let me be clear. None of those things are 32-mile goals. The second thing, when you say these things out loud, they probably scare you, and most people will scoff. I can tell you that from saying it aloud, hey, I'm going to swim 32 miles, you're not going to get much more odd than that, so you're probably pretty safe. The third thing, the work to complete this goal has got to be challenging, and it's got to be done daily. For me, it was less about the last day and completing the swim than it was getting up at 4 in the morning and sitting there and going, I've got to go swim today, or that's never going to happen. It's every single day doing the hard work. The next thing is that it's got to be about your drive. It's got to be drive-based. Again, I tend to think in physical goals. For me, setting a goal after all my failures of completing my next 5K would not have been applicable. It would not have challenged me. It would not have challenged me mentally, and it wouldn't have challenged me physically. I had to have something that was so great that there was this chance that I wasn't going to be able to complete it. That kind of fear drives you. And for me, that's that drive that gets you to do the work every single day. So again, I've told you how to kind of build it. But really, the next few things really hammered it home for me is how do you execute it? Because my biggest shortfall, I think, in life is follow through. And I say that not to knock what I've done, but it's true. There's so many things that we say every day. Man, I really want to do this. I really want to go do this. I really want to do that. But how many of those items do we really follow through and see them through to the end? When I think about executing a 32-mile goal, the first thing I think is, again, you have to say it. And you have to say it aloud, and you have to say it to every person you meet. Every person that you come in contact with. Hey, I'm going to swim 32 miles to raise $1 million. Hey, I'm going to swim 32 miles, and I'm going to raise $1 million. I'm going to swim 32 miles, and I'm going to raise $1 million. One of my best friends from high school, 2 weeks before the event, he and I got together, and I said, are you going to be in town? He's like, yeah, I'm going to be in town, I think, that weekend. I was like, are you going to come out? I'm going to be swimming 32 miles. And he said, can you even swim 32 miles? I had said it so much that I never questioned that I couldn't. The second thing I had to do was I had to visualize it. And I'm not talking like your old 80s sports medicine going, all right, I'm going to visualize doing this. Every single day, I got up at 4 a.m. and I ate a peanut butter Cliff Bar. I ate so many peanut butter Cliff Bars that to this day, I cannot choke one down. I drank 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and I would usually put on Channel 9. And that channel was simply just a picture of Louisiana with a chunk of Mississippi on it, with the weather, some guy chanting in the back about East Apalachicola and what the way, and I was like, okay. But what I saw in the corner was Mississippi, and it was 32 miles right through there. And I thought to myself, that is what I'm going to swim. Finish my coffee, and I'd go out the door. The third thing for execution that you have to do is you have to enlist the help of others. For me, the first thing that I did is I picked up the phone, and I'm lucky enough to know an Olympic caliber swim coach. And I called her and I said, Shelley, this is my goal. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. About 3 months into the thing, she said, you know what? You've never questioned what I've asked you to do. And I said, well, I asked you for help. Why should I question that? I also enlisted 8 of my friends to ride in a boat for 16 hours. They were seasick and miserable, and I was just fine. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? Suckers. But you have to enlist the help of others. And the fourth, and I think the most important, is if you've asked help from others and you're ready to go out there and do that, you must do the work. And what I mean by that is you've agreed to fight your own personal good fight, and you must do the work. You can't fake it. And if it's a goal based around why you think you're put on this earth, you won't fake it. My half step at the end is you rinse it and you repeat it. Johnson & Johnson's probably made $1 gazillion by those 2 words on every shampoo bottle, and I try to enlist them in the things that I want to repeat and be successful at. So again, a lot of you are saying, great, that's Goal Setting 101. I've read it in every book. I appreciate that. Thank you for reviewing that for the group. But what's the difference? And the difference is the drive and the why. If you base a goal upon your drive and your why, you will cement a foundation that you can build your whole entire life on. Your first one, you may not get it. And your second one, you may not exactly know your why. But if that's what you try to base it on, you will be forever enriched. Your spirit, your work, your family, your friends, and everyone around you will also be enriched for this. And that's why, for me, I feel that one goal like this can truly align your life. So again, as we finish this fantastic night, I challenge each and every one of you to question yourself and say, hey, what is my why? What kind of goal can I set? And what'll be your 32 miles? Thank you.